Okay, well there we are, finally. Make sure my volume's up. Not quite. How about that? All right, I'm using my streaming software today, and we'll see if that isn't as glitchy. That way I don't have to do it over on one platform and then post over here. It'll just be here. So I don't know. We're trying things, I guess, to see what works better. So welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside. That's the blog I write over at imsteppingaside.com. It's a witch blog. I'm an empath, so I talk about that as well. It has a little grimoire on it. It has I'm also an herbalist, so it has a materia medica and some fun recipes. There's some stuff on cannabis. I'm also a cannabis patient, so I include some stuff about that. I have a section on growing. I gotta get comfortable here. I got a section on growing, but I haven't admittedly devoted as much time to that as I should. A lot of people now are, a lot of states are legalizing either recreationally or medicinally or both. Oregon did the medical cannabis, I believe, back in 1998, and then I think it was in 2014 that we legalized recreationally. But it's an important thing for states to do. Now there's a bill in Congress that may be getting some traction, much to the chagrin of our current Attorney General. But, guys, we got to live in truth about this thing. We've been lied to by the government since the turn of the century. In the early 1900s, they saw profit motive in cotton and trees and whatnot for doing paper and clothing. And so they decided to do that instead of hemp. And so when hemp went away, so did cannabis. Prior to that, cannabis was in the pharmacopoeia. And it was, a common medicine, that you would be given by your doctor, tinctures and things like that. Dietary hemp was probably a staple in people's diets. So people were, in one sense, healthier because they had access to something that was making their bodies function properly. When they took that away from us, that's when we got sicker. I mean, did you ever wonder why that happened? Why we have all of the chronic illnesses today and why we accept that as just the way it is? Why is that? Why do we accept that we need to be ill? Our bodies were created perfect. There's no reason for illness. There just isn't. So if you begin with the notion of keeping things in balance, then, and you keep everything functioning properly, we have an endocannabinoid system. We have cannabinoid receptors throughout our bodies that need the interaction. It doesn't just happen with cannabis. You can get cannabinoids in black pepper, but how much of that can you eat to keep your body, in stasis, basically? So hopefully we'll see some traction federally so that states can be allowed to do as they please on this. And with any luck, every state out there will, become intelligent and look at this without, the narrow vision that we've all looked at it for so long, and do right by the folks in their state, and if we can't get the federal government to just come in and say, what, guys, we lied to you, cannabis is fine, go ahead and do what you want, and here's the other thing about legalization, though, and then I'll draw I'll draw a card, I promise. But I'll get off my soapbox about this. But here's the thing about legalization. What they want to do after you legalize is they want to control everything. The only time cannabis ought to be controlled is when it goes to market. That's fine with me. We have to do it with any other foodstuffs. With anything else, it's got to be safe. It's got to be, there's rules with respect to business and all of that. Get rid of the banking issues associated with cannabis. They don't need to be there. This is not drug money that people are making. It's not at all. It's legal money. They're earning a living. That's all they're doing. This is not drug trafficking. It is not a drug. It is a plant. And so let's get that clear. So As far as legalization, people ought to be able to grow whatever they want to unless they take it to market, unless they want to sell it. Then put whatever restrictions you would put on any other business person, you know, with respect to foodstuffs, because that's what this basically is. But don't tell people you can only grow X amount of plants if they're for personal use. It's none of their business what you grow. But you got to live within the law, so that's what we do. You know, I'm a patient, so I get a little more generous allowance than private people have. You know, just normal folks in Oregon. But, you know, no one should be restricted at all. Not on cannabis. Not ever. So anyway, that's enough for that. So anyway, you never know. You never know what I'm going to say. It just occurs to me and I just start talking. Anyway, I'm going to count 13 and we'll draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I noticed I didn't drop one today. Well, we have another court card, and I think we've drawn her before. It's the Queen of Wands. Let's see if I can get this closer. There she is. She's on her throne. She's got a sunflower for a scepter. And again, she's holding a very long staff, which, you know, traditional tarot calls a wand. Let's see, what did I do with my magnifying glass? So it must be over there. I was working over there doing a blog post last night. She's got her black cat down at her feet. And she's got her throne is, she's got some rams on either side of her throne. Wands is a fire element suit, and Aries and is a fire, and the ram is a sign of Aries. And so this woman, when you think about the Queen of Wands, what you're talking about is a person with integrity. You're talking about someone with some will about her. She's going to stand in her own power. She's very comfortable in her chair on her throne, and she's looking toward the future. Directionality is an interesting thing in tarot. When you have cards that depict individuals, depending on which way they're looking, if you've got a multi-card suit, you might have, you know, several cards. And if you've got, say, a couple of quartz cards in there and they happen to be looking at each other, or another good option is like the Empress, and then the Emperor. The Emperor is typically looking backwards toward the Empress. And why wouldn't he? You know, so you get your guidance from the woman, don't you? Anyway, so the Queen of Wands is very comfortable in her power, and that's what she's telling us today. This is a different type of software, so I have to, I don't know, wherever I can get it to you so you can see it the best. There we go. There. That's best. So you can see she's just a powerful woman, powerful ruler. Let's see what else on this. A court card can be the individual in question. You know, some powerful woman that comes into your life, or are you manifesting the qualities of a powerful and talented and honorable and successful woman? She's full of energy. You can see the yellows and the reds there. She's full of energy. Or it can be the qualities or the individual. So are you a powerful individual? Are you manifesting those qualities today? Well, we never really know on court cards, do we, until we pull the rune, because court cards are iffy. You just don't know. The smaller cards in the majors, you know, they're a little more direct in what they're talking about, but the court cards, you just never know. You just don't. It depends on what else is there. And on a single card reading, well, you know, what else is there but just that card? So let's pull the rune. And if we don't get anything we like, if we need a little more information, we'll go ahead and pull another card. I probably ought to just do that as a rule with court cards, but I don't. Sometimes it's enough. Well, this is Uruz. This is the second rune of the Elder Futhark. It is and I love this description. It's drizzle. It's the drizzle, and it's the forming force. It's the force behind. It's not the manifestation of. It's the force behind the manifestation of. So it's one of the original forming forces of the universe, basically, that the Creator uses to focus into form. They use Uruz. And so apparently, now this is a water element rune as opposed to fire. So water is quenching fire today, apparently. So it is the rune of changes. So what was this queen going to do? What kind of changes was she going to make today? Is it a change within? Is she going to stand more in her own power? Is she going to be the ruler or the authority figure who listens instead of the one who acts? Will she maybe have a little more, will she listen to her inner voice a little bit more prior to acting? You know, Uruz, it's like, what are we going to manifest today? So are we going to do it with, are we going to do it with some heart? You know, because that's really what this is about. You know, we want to balance our will with our heart. You know, for this woman to be effective, yeah, she can say, okay, this is how it's all going to be today, but maybe she needs to do it with a little bit of, you know, sensitivity that maybe just in her own fire element, maybe her own fiery nature prevents that. And so what we want to do is we want to find, you know, the strength of being soft, really, instead of, you know, being so forceful and willful, to find a better way to say what we need to say. The nice part about this, about doing it that way, is that the fiery will can get out of control, right? We can become so full of ourselves that we can't really see another person's perspective. So with the influence of a water rune like Uruz, you know, you're basically trying to draw something better into your life, something that's more emotionally balanced. And so I think today what this is really telling us is how are we keeping our will and our emotions in balance, right? So, but just to be sure that there's not a direction for this, because maybe there's something that this queen is wanting to do today that maybe is going to get her into trouble. So let me draw one more card and let's see what it has to say. Just to give us a direction for this, this may just be simply about balancing the internal within, but just in case there's a direction, you know, for the rest of the week or for today or whatever, because we don't always know, do we, with the court cards. Is this just a quality? Is this an individual? Or are we actually going to do something, particularly because it's a wands card? You know, if it was a swords, then I might be concerned, because it's like, what are we going to say? What's our mouth going to get us into trouble with today? Especially, you know, with Uruz, because, you know, you can get quite emotional in your language, can't you? But let's just count 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, the Two of Swords, see, I had to open my mouth about swords. Here you have a woman who's holding 2 swords, blindfolded. She's in a battle between emotions and intellect. The water's behind her. She's got some support there, but yet she needs to make a decision, doesn't she? So if we're putting that together with the queen, what we're trying to do here then is she's looking to the future, and it's about a future decision that she needs to make. All right? So perhaps the decision isn't of an emotional nature. So in terms of what it is that she wants to manifest. That's interesting. To be absolutely sure, though, let's be sure of what I'm missing here in the 2. 2 is balanced polarity. 2 is and I typically look at the 2 of Swords as either decisions or the balance within our dual nature. Maybe there was some conflict. It's a balanced force. It's equanimity. So maybe this look forward is not so much looking forward into the future, but maybe looking past what other people are saying and what other people are thinking. So maybe what the Queen is, maybe what this is asking us to do is to make sure that we don't ignore the views of other people here. We don't have to necessarily make decisions alone. Sometimes we do. So maybe we need to pay attention to what other people say, get other people's counsel. In other words, don't just take our own counsel. Make sure that we're actually thinking about what other people have to say in the matter. Maybe what we're wanting to do doesn't involve just us. A queen may just decide to make those decisions on behalf of everyone, but maybe that's not what we need to be doing. Maybe we need to be thinking about, are we overshadowing other people today? So let's live in balance. Let's live in the awareness of other people's thoughts and needs and desires and wants, and be that sort of queen in our life today. Yeah. And I'm not sure what this had to do with the whole cannabis rant, but in any event, work for change, you know. Investigate that. See if it can help you with healing. Other than that, be the queen in your life. Allow other people in. Allow other people's thoughts to come in and needs and wants and all of that, so that you're not the only one making decisions on other people's behalf. So we're all one, remember. Everybody matters. Everybody. So anyway, that's a wonderful, actually, that's really a nice 2-card reading. I like that. Let's be the queen, but remember, there's someone else involved. And take the blindfold off. It's much nicer. You know, life can be difficult, but it doesn't help to keep blinders on, does it? Not at all. So anyway, this was Wednesday, the 12th of December. I don't know, or not December, June. I don't even know what month I'm in. Isn't that amazing? It's the 12th of June, 2018. It is not December. It's going to be in the 80s today here, so that's how I know that. Anyway, you guys have a lovely day, and I'll see how this thing plays back, and maybe I'll use this software again tomorrow. In any event, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow, and blessed be.